Standing on my island, waking me slow. Want me to breathe, telling me to go. Can't stretch out with the soft in head. Morning in my skin like a gentle wind. Hit the flow with the rhythm so sweet. Heartbeat sync with the top of my feet. It feels easy in a brand new way. I move how I feel, let it flow through the day. Sitting in the curve of my chest, every little moment put it in. I want something like a car, all smooth in the groove, so world unfold like a different way. Sweat rock, go let it flow through the day. Tension stop, like no. Sweet sound swing, I'm back in from the top I was screaming. With the one track play, and as I flow through the day, I flow through the day. Tension stop, like no. Sweet sound swing, I'm back in from the top I was screaming. With the one track play, and as I flow through the day. Every perspective is everything. When I'm in the flow, looking back now, I see it. Yeah, things could have gone left if I stayed right there. Follow my fear instead of that quiet care. Sure I knew better, I had it bad. But something in my spirit kept pulling me back. Close off, didn't stand, didn't shout. Just didn't know it wouldn't work. Was confused, felt delayed. Didn't know I was being saved. I wanted answers, didn't see the hands on my soul. Now I see the mercy in the stars. That was love disguised as love. I didn't miss out. I was moved by wisdom older than truth. Some came up with the blow. Step we stick my sheet like queen. I said, yeah, today is looking real serene. Like a bed. We hit the pavement with a sweat. Bring me back all I let's stay. Don't tell us too long. I know how to see what they love for me. I don't pay for cloud rolling. I read the signs, I feel the shift. I let it pass, I don't live in it. I've been human, I've been here. I don't hide from what I feel, but I don't build a house in sorrow. I got somewhere else to stay. And let the way teach me balance. Let the pawn sharpen my sight. Don't confuse a harmonic with the shape of my whole life. When it got nice, when it looks like accelerate. I've been fluent in the process, how to transmute, how to elevate. I don't lose faith, just do. I don't let down. I don't let down. Just do. Yeah. Each day I see is a beautiful new canvas, a new slate, a new table set just for me. Let's see what it's gonna be. Yes. Morning light on the counter, breath deep, I'm still here. Cup warm, phone quiet, that alone worth the chip. Don't skip past the simple, don't rush what I need. Every day bring enough, if I stay where my feet be. Rotate, heart steady, mind clear, pace ready. I ain't
Phenomenal evening. Well, I went to go try to listen to it, and I hope it didn't sound as bad as it did on my end as it did with yours. If so, that's very unfortunate. Okay. But I would recommend this YouTube channel. It's called Crowned Intentions. And that was Friday Flow State. It's an upbeat Afro beat affirmation playlist. It's a vibe. I recommend it. Okay. So I was trying to, get some music in here that hopefully wouldn't get like no copyrights or nothing like that to kind of balance out what I'm about to do here. Because it's about to, get real. Okay. Real. All right. So you can find this post on Patreon. This is part 3 to my Beauty and Starting Over series that I'm working on. And this one is titled Beauty, Grace, and Wisdom. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read because I made this one public, for whoever needs this information. I just want to make sure that I put it all on the table today and also promote a few things. Okay. Beauty, Grace, and Wisdom, the beauty in starting over. Experience and time have a fascinating way of revealing who genuinely loves us and who our real friends and supporters are. Who needs access to us for their own selfish gain and benefit, and who wants to block our progression and forward movement to control us. The sad thing is, these usually cloaked, masked, and veiled people and entities that embody said energy show up and show out in many ways. Unfortunately, it can take a lot of time to get the revelation of who and or what we've been dealing with, ultimately hurting us at the core of our being and leading to the difficulty in being able to trust others and question if we can trust ourselves. What's a woman? You know what? Let me rewind. I didn't put that in here, but I'm going to say it this time. When I wrote this, I meant to go back and edit it and include what's a black woman, okay? What's a melanated woman to do when groups of people decide to collaborate on a mission to prove you are just another hoe, a prostitute, and a gold digging Jezebel. I'm talking cliques, covens, entities, fraternities, gangs, sororities, and groups I don't even know how to classify. I had no idea that I was that powerful until a few life threatening experiences led to me researching, uncovering, and gaining understanding on subjects such as gang stalking, exploitation, death magic, destiny swapping, and slander. Jealousy, envy, and greed will have people dedicating their life to trying to ruin or end yours. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against me in judgment I shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord. Isaiah 54:17. And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Exodus 3:14. Okay. All right. Glad we had that conversation. So again, if you want to read that again for yourself or check out the actual post, I left my link tree in the description section of this video. So if you're on YouTube or um, Facebook, where I am broadcasting live presently, on my Marissa Black Facebook, on my Experience Black TV YouTube, and the Oracle Empress YouTube channels. Okay. So, and the link to the master key where you can find patron and, some merchandise that I have presently available. We're about to do a quick little tour so you can see where you can access these things once you use that beautiful little link there. All right. So this is the master key updated. If you want to know more about what and who Black is, you just click here and you can read this. If you want to book, shop, subscribe, and earn Black Bucks loyalty rewards points, you can check out the products that we have, the merchandise that we have in the Empress collection here. All designed by me. Okay. Quality hair extensions and so forth. Customizable wigs and units also. I just designed this t-shirt today. It's called No Lie Women's Relaxed T-shirt. And there's a little class that we're about to have that accompanies that t-shirt design. Okay, if you want to book a hair appointment, you can do so here and find out more information as far as where I'm available and what my availability is, where I am available. Okay. If you have any questions before you book, because deposits are required, I would prefer you to reach out to me and get your questions answered. So we'll make sure that I don't have to, refund any deposits and all that kind of stuff. Down here with Empress Tools, we have the Oracle Empress collection and library, where you can find things like energy forecasts that I typically do weekly, You can find new and full moon readings that I do. I actually just did one last night for the upcoming Gemini new moon, and that one was intense. It was enlightening. It was confirmation. It was a lot of things. It was about 2 hours long. So you can find that there. Then we have our homepage here, education, entertainment, and events, where you can find that type of stuff, you know, what's all listed right there. Our earned loyalty rewards, our affiliate links, as well as, the links to go ahead and check how many points you've earned once you log in and subscribe, of course, as well as when you shop and refer using your link to your referrals. The Empress Beauty Boutique is password accessible. That password is 777. Check that out to see, the collection of products that we have available and services um, that you can book through the Empress Network directly. And then we have some affiliate offers and promotions here, for our fit life, healthy, focused people. Okay. Power up with Daily Harvest high protein smoothies. You can get 40% off, for Purple Carrot off your first box, and, 80% off your first order when signing up to be a VIP with Fabletics. Okay. With our Oracle Empress, you can check out, our all 12 zodiac sign readings for June 2026. That's here. And the timestamps for each sign you can find here when you click here. And these are the services that I have available as far as personal readings and personalized readings with a consultation. If you are checking this out on the weekend of June 13th, I am presently running a 50% off promotion or sale for these readings. Okay, so traditionally they go for 250. You can get it for 125 for this weekend for this new moon. I was inspired to do that because of, what came out in the reading, all right, that we did yesterday, preparing for this energy. And these are just the blogs and vlogs that, you could check out once you subscribe, and become a member on Patreon to access, the member section. Okay. I'm heading over to the OG Academy on YouTube. Excuse me, on Facebook, our group in which I shared a couple of articles. And we are about to read those together. All right, so this is from the New York Presbyterian. Health Matters, Stories of Science, Care, and Wellness. What to know about the connection between hair relaxers and uterine cancer. A radiation oncologist explains the latest data on how the use of chemical hair straighteners may lead to an increased risk in certain cancers. This was published on October 10th, 2024. Written by Dorothy Cucci, spelled Cucci, like Gucci, but with a C. That's funny. A study published in 2023 from Boston University suggests that Black women who have used relaxers more than twice a year or for more than 5 years have a 50% increase in uterine cancer risk. According to the same study, up to 95% of adult Black women in the US reported ever having used hair relaxers. These straighteners have been, have a these straighteners have already been implicated in breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and now in uterine cancer, says Dr. Anyini D. Bologon, a radiation oncologist at New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. Even though more evidence is needed, we need to sit up and pay close attention. Health Matters spoke with Dr. Balogan about why chemical straighteners may be linked to certain types of cancer and how the risk can be decreased. What are hair relaxers and chemical straighteners and how do they work? Relaxers and straighteners are cream or lotion based formulas that contain chemicals that are applied to the hair for a certain amount of time to change curlier textures to straight or wavy textures. They tend to be more often used by Black women. For a long time, straight hair has been held up as the standard, especially in the workplace, and historically, many Black women conform to this standard by chemically straightening or relaxing their hair. Many get their hair relaxed for the first time as young children. It's almost like a rite of passage. What kinds of chemicals are in these products and why might they be cause for concern? These products are full of chemicals and some may be combined with formaldehyde. Formaldehyde has been considered carcinogenic and is the same chemical used to preserve dead bodies. When they are applied to the hair, we believe they may be absorbed right through the scalp and then enter the body. Through entering the body, they can then alter estrogen dependent pathways, processes that determine and regulate the amount of estrogen in the body, which can lead to endometrial tumors, and that is really concerning. Association is not casualty, but we do have evidence that a number of these chemicals are associated with breast and ovarian cancers because they disrupt the estrogen levels in the body, and that could be the way in which they may be leading to higher rates of endometrial uterine cancer. Other concerning chemicals found in relaxers include parabens and phthalates. There have been at least two key studies, the one published by Boston University and another published in 2023 by the National Institutes of Health, that showed a concerning connection between a higher frequency of use of hair straighteners and an increased risk of uterine cancer. The latter found that women who had endometrial cancer had higher concentrations of parabens in their endometrial tissue and phthalates in their urine samples. Why are relaxers specifically linked to hormone related cancers? Basically, there are different types of endometrial cancers, and some are estrogen receptor positive. This means that just like breast cancers, these cancers use estrogen to grow. We're also seeing a higher rate of aggressive types that are not as clearly associated with hormonal stimulation. Chemicals in hair relaxers may act like estrogens, causing your body to perceive that there's more estrogen than there actually is. It's similar to what happens with obesity. Excess fat can be converted through certain pathways into estrogen, so your body is perceiving more estrogen than it should. As a result, obesity is a risk factor for endometrial cancers. A Black woman's 5 year survival is 62% compared to 84% for a white woman's, who's diagnosed with endometrial cancer here in the US. That's one of the highest cancer disparities that exist, and we need to understand why it's happening. A lot more research is needed. We can't say that it's only the fault of these parabens, phthalates, formaldehyde, and other chemicals, but we can say that in general, if there is an increase in mortality, maybe part of this is a manifestation of years and years of exposure to these hair straighteners. What are some safer alternatives for people who want to continue to straighten their hair without exposing themselves to harmful chemicals? Flat ironing is one way to try and get your hair straighter. You can even use a combination of blow drying your hair out and then flat ironing it. But these methods can adversely affect the texture of the hair long term, so you'd want to use them sparingly. I like to change my own hair often. A weave is one option. Here, your hair is braided down close to the scalp, then tracts of straight hair are sewn in. This is one way you can get a straight hair look without the harm. Wigs and protective hairstyles, including braids, are other options. You can even get micro braids that have some hair left out, which gives a straight hair aesthetic. What is your advice to people who want to stop relaxing their hair? I'm glad that more recently we've seen a movement toward natural hair and embracing our natural textures. I don't think many people understand the potential harms from chemical straighteners. Just like smoking, though, I don't necessarily tell people to just stop using relaxers cold turkey. If you want someone to start developing an exercise habit, you don't tell them, okay, now go out and run a marathon. I suggest you start ramping down the frequency of use every other month instead of every month, for example, and try experimenting with protective styles in between. What I really want people to understand is that we always need to look at ways that we can try to prevent or decrease our risk of developing cancer. Discontinuing the use of chemical straighteners and relaxers may be a way to decrease that risk. All right. So that was the first article. And we're going to take a break before I go to the second one. And I want to share, some of these little tools that I have and have had for a little while so people can get a better understanding, of who I am because I'm very private and, I'm just a private person. I leave people to assume whatever they think to assume about me. But with that has contributed to me being in a situation that I'm not happy with these days. So I'm kind of going to clear the air a little bit. Okay. So I have this library. I'm like, I could be a librarian if I wanted to. Um, these days, a digital librarian. But before I got started with, you know, creating my digital library within, the Empress Network at marissablack.com. I used to buy like DVDs and books from Amazon before Amazon became what it is today. Okay, when it was just pretty much like books and DVDs. And I'm gonna kind of show the graduation. So in 2010, this is what I was on in 2010. What year is it now? It's 2026. So this is like 16 years ago. That's it. 2010. Yeah, about 16 years ago. So I don't recall where I saw Mr. Nazir Ra, and I used to go to like conferences and trade shows and all that type of stuff. So there you would have people set up their booths and do classes and all that type of stuff. So it's possible that it could have been at like Bronner Brothers or something like that in Atlanta. I'm almost sure it was in Atlanta, but Nazir Ra was a teacher of like metaphysics and spirituality. So I had more like books and DVDs, but these are the two that I have today still. This one is The Metaphysics of Destiny. You Are Surrounded by Eternity, Session 1. And this is Nazir Ra with Bobby Hemmett. If you know, you know. But Nazir Ra, author of The Hidden Self and teacher of New Dawn Transformation Technology, moderates a talk with world renowned master teacher of ancient history and metaphysics, Bobby Hemmett. Hemmett gives you an intimate tour of his home and exposes the viewer to a deeper understanding of the ancient gods and goddesses and how they correspond to modern quantum physics. In fact, Mr. Hemmett gives unshakable proof that modern science is only beginning to catch up with the spiritual technology of certain ancient cultures in Africa, India, and Mexico. This documentary explores some of the most fundamental questions and paradoxes in metaphysics and spirituality. What is destiny? Can destiny be altered? To what extent can we influence events in the world and in our lives? What is the new spiritual magic? Is voodoo real? What is the significance of the year 2012? Okay. This DVD is a crown jewel for anyone vaguely interested in higher consciousness. You will not be the same after you see this film. Facts. Because I wasn't the same after I got really heavily interested in documentaries after this. Like when I discovered, this school of thought or this kind of history or, all of that, like watching regular TV, Jerry Springer, what was the other one that was popular? Maury. All that stuff was just like trash to me. What else was popular back then? And all the, basketball wives and all that. Like when that stuff became popular, by the time I was just like, this is what I was on. Okay. All right. And this was The Hidden Self, a deeper secret. Prepare to be blown away. So Bobby Hemmett, Rudara, Zarabanda, Chike Aqua, Jamela, Franklin, Taj, and Nazira take you on an incredible metaphysical journey through the hidden self. This much anticipated film is based on Nazir's best selling book, The Hidden Self. Okay. What is Christ consciousness? What does it mean to be awake? Is the world a dream? What is alchemy? Is magic real? And what is the goddess energy? Okay. Nazir.com is the website. I'm not sure if it's still up, but this is what I was on before I got serious about hair. Okay. And I still got these from 2010. All right. So then, where is my other? I'm missing some. I got to check in my other cases. I'm missing some DVDs. All right. So I found this picture, first of all. I think this is so cute and funny. Just look at it. Yeah, it's funny and cute. I had this hung up in my studio. All right, so before we go into the next article, we're going to talk about some of these DVDs. All right, The Connection, Editorial Edge. These are DVDs I invested in from Janelle Seeley Smith, also known as Coco Main. Okay, I met her at Bronner Brothers a long time ago and signed up for one of her boot camps in New York. And this is her work actually right here. with celebrity stylist Janelle Smith, back to basics, weaving, braiding, and more. So I met her and I found out about, her boot camp, her class before I went to hair school. And I had already had a little bit of experience with, doing hair, like weaves and braids and stuff like that. So, yeah, these are the certificates that I got from attending her boot camp in New York. Okay, this one was from June 25th, 2012, and this one was June 24th, 2012. It was like a weekend boot camp. The first one was Certificate of Advanced Training. This certifies that Marissa Wells has successfully completed advanced training in weaving techniques from Coco Maine, the Academy. And then I have another one that says the same thing for cut and coloring. And this was back in 2012. And I don't know if it was that one or it was another one that I went to where she recommended that, I should go to hair school because I was very talented. I showed her like my portfolio that I had back then, some of my work that I had on like Facebook and stuff like that. And she was just like, yeah, you need to go ahead and get your license, girlfriend, because you can go places with that talent like that. And that's what I did. So I signed up for Paul Mitchell. But prior to that, I had already went on Amazon and purchased this My Lady's Standard Cosmetology book that feels like it's about 20 pounds. Oh Lord, this book is so heavy. 2012 monthly business expenses. Oh wow. 2012 monthly business expenses, products and supplies, tools, hair care, office, miscellaneous, rent, merchant account, lease fees, website, Wix, Woofoo. What was Woofoo? I don't even remember. Schedulicity. I had Schedulicity in 2012. Dang. Phone, tablet, insurance, training, travel, and other. Wow. That's fascinating. That was some stations, chairs, a $500 station, $235 styling chair, $79 mats, a $169 steamer, $78 shampoo bowl, a $115 styling cart, a $149 mobile hair dryer. Dang, I even had a little sketch or design for Phenomenal Beauty as far as how I wanted my salon to be set up. I was pricing stations and chairs and lounge areas, business plan for a startup business. This is 2012. Wow. I'm glad I found this and looked in this startup expenses and capitalization. Lord, I gotta look through this again. Well, I didn't even know I had all this in here. That's why this book's so heavy. This was before I went to Paul Mitchell in 2012. Ugh, shook the whole room. That's so heavy. So this was from 2011. That was my logo where my good brother Gabe, Gabe Peak, he designed that logo for me. Phenomenal Beauty was my brand before it was black, and black turned into Experience Black. But I love the detail here with the eyes Like I so love this logo, but my experience with Paul Mitchell made me go black. Made me go black. Featured at Hair Savvy Studio, 101 Justin Boulevard, Newcastle, Delaware, 19720. Natural stylist Marissa. My phone number was 302-685-0122. And my website was www.phenomenal-beauty.com. And this was a coupon for $10 off your service. Coupon expires December 30th, 2011. This was my little marketing material. So I would print these out and hand them to people. And I will also post these on like Craigslist and Facebook and, wherever else it made sense to market. And this was when I was attending Paul Mitchell. It was a hair extension class certification. Marissa Wells has successfully completed the Academy Pro Hair Inc. certification program. Instructor Stephanie Pucci, the date February 2013. Academy Pro Hair Inc. Beauty Seminars International. Then we got the good brother Patrick Bradley. I need to find a DVD player so I can watch this. Increase your income by 100,000. Understand marketing versus advertising, booth rent versus commission, eliminating slow days, capitalize on network marketing, learn how photo shoots can change your business. Some of the topics in this DVD: attitude, desire, professionalism, failure, teams, knowing your position in the good week, bad week syndrome, and much more. And this was from 2013. I remember I gotta find the other DVDs. I know I better still have them. They better be somewhere around here. But Patrick Bradley, when I was in Delaware, I think I discovered him at Bronner Brothers probably the same year that I discovered Janelle Seeley Smith. And I went to her boot camp, and because I was heavily invested, like paying out of pocket at that time for, you know, investing in my skills and my business knowledge and just becoming an all around better professional. And this is again before Paul Mitchell. And I remember me and some homegirls or my cousin, I had planned a trip and we were leaving. It was like a 2-hour drive from Delaware to DC. And we got stuck in real bad traffic. It was like an accident or something. And by the time we made it to the class, it was like 15, 20 minutes before it was over. And I was so sad because I spent like, I forgot how much I spent for the tickets, but it wasn't cheap. And I ended up, because I missed the class, he had like DVDs and products and stuff for sale after the class, like vending table set up. So I ended up paying about like $500 on the DVDs and some of the products from his product line. And I remember these P rings, they were like rubber rings. And when I tell you, I taught myself how to use them things, and I created some bomb natural curly texture afros with them things. Like my clients love them because I love them. Like I was bad, I couldn't do it on my own hair, and I couldn't find nobody else that could do them either. But I wish I could find another set of those. I let them go when I had let go a lot of my tools and equipment and stuff like that. But I need to go on his website and check to see if he still sell them because them things was the bomb. Like you get the most textured, beautiful, curly looking afro, like a twist out on steroids type of thing. But yeah, that was that story. So I got some more stuff, but I'm gonna read another article first. I'm going to read another article first. Where are we at? All right, this one is from Harvard. Harvard School of Public Health, Environment and Climate Health. Uncovering the Dangers of Hair Products Marketed to Black Women and Girls by Karen Felcher, June 15, 2024. The research described in this article was made possible in part by federal funding awarded to Harvard Chan School scientists in the interest of protecting and promoting health for all. The future of research like this is now in question due to the government's actions to terminate large numbers of grants and contracts and freeze funding for scientific inquiry and innovations across Harvard University. June 15, 2024. A growing body of evidence suggests that chemicals in hair relaxers, products aimed at straightening hair, and other hair products marketed to Black girls and women contain endocrine disrupting substances linked with early menstruation, reproductive health issues, and cancer. But these remain largely unregulated in the US. A June 13th article in the New York Times detailed how Black women and girls in the US feeling pressured to conform to societal norms about having neat or professional hair have, for many years, used a variety of methods to calm their hair, including chemical relaxers containing substances such as formaldehyde and phthalates. Black women quoted in the article, including Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health's Tamara James Todd, talked about how their scalps would burn when their hair was being treated and how their hair would fall out in clumps afterwards. Over the past 20 years, James Todd Mark and Catherine Winkler, Associate Professor of Environmental Reproductive Etymology, has conducted or co authored nearly 70 studies aimed at showing the link between chemicals in hair products and serious health problems that disproportionately impact Black women and girls. In recent years, a number of other large studies, mostly conducted by other Black women who have had relaxer treatments starting when they were children, have provided additional evidence linking such products to health problems, including uterine fibroids, preterm birth and fertility and infertility, and breast cancer. Excuse me, let me read that again. In recent years, a number of other large studies, mostly conducted by other Black women who have had relaxer treatments starting when they were children, have provided additional evidence linking such products to health problems, including uterine fibroids, preterm birth and infertility, and breast, ovarian, and uterine cancer. I'm not saying that more research isn't needed, but there's study after study, said James Todd. At some point, you have evidence enough to start making recommendations that people reduce their use of these products or don't use them at all, she added. I hate to say it, but in the US, we don't care. It's about the money. And read the New York Times article, The Disturbing Truth About Hair Relaxers. Did I save that one? Is that the one I just read? Let me see. No, I'm not signing up. They doing too much. Okay. All right. So that was that article. We got one more that's titled First Large Study of Hair Relaxers Among Black Women Finds Increased Risk of Uterine Cancer. All right, we're going to read that one next, but I want to go through some more stuff that I got. All right. So also before Paul Mitchell, oh, hold on. So when I got those DVDs for Coco Main. I also bought these hair books here. You know, hair magazines and hair books used to be a thing back in the day for you to get inspiration for styles for your clients. They can, check them out while they waiting or, look at before we had Google and all that, hair magazines used to cost a nice penny. I'm talking like, $20 a pop, sometimes more because I spent at least a good stack or better on, hair magazines. These just a few that I still got. But yeah, I saved these because they actually have the steps of how to achieve these looks, and I just thought that this was valuable for me to keep. Was that the rings? Well, look at here. How did I not ever see this? The P rings that I was just talking about is literally, that's crazy. These are the P rings I was just talking about with Patrick Bradley that I invested in, and they will help you achieve like curly looks like this. That's crazy. But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that was in here. Or if I did, I forgot because it's been so long. Oh, I remember that hair. I love that hair. That was the bomb hair. But yeah, so I got these, and they are mighty old. You can tell by the hairstyles, honey. I remember one of my little girl clients, I had this in the salon. She picked this up and she closed her eyes. She was like, "Oh my gosh," because you had the band here, the with the fireman suit with no shirt on, naked looking, the hair models. I guess she thought it was like a naughty magazine, but it was a lot product line advertisement. She's like, "Oh my gosh," like it was a porn magazine or something. And then this is the book that I have that was autographed. That was autographed by Miss Janelle Coco Main. To Marissa, may God bless you richly. Stay sweet, Janelle. All righty, so those are those. And then I also got these from like Amazon. This was the start your own hair salon and day spa. I got some more of these type of books. Matter of fact, here we go, right here on my shelf. I was studying this one. Ready, set, go. The Salon Building Bible. I learned a lot from this one. A lot. The Salon Building Bible. Then we got the Start Your Own Hair Salon and Day Spa, your step by step guide to success, Entrepreneur Press. I got these at the same time. Like I was just at home studying. At home studying, honey. Minding my business and studying. Not bothering nobody. Just trying to perfect my craft. And then I realized, you know, that natural hair, you know, was a different class, you know, of work. I didn't want to do relaxers. I didn't want to do the chemical processes that would and texturizers, all that, because people will be trying to come to me talking about doing texturizers like that's that much different than a relaxer. I don't like that type of stuff. So I had to become equipped and learn, you know, how to manage this hair in its natural state. So I got this textured trusses. I done had this since Jesus, I don't know how long. Do I got a receipt? Because I'll be having receipts sometimes. Oh, let me see. July 17th, 2006. No, that was at it says Cleveland Public Library. So I got this from Amazon. So whoever, was in Cleveland, you know, library, they got it and they sold it to me. And this really changed the game for me because I studied this book and I learned a lot. Langston Hughes Branch, Superior Ave, Cleveland, Ohio. Wow. This was a library book. Black World, Guide to Maintaining and Styling Natural Hair. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Forward by Blair Underwood. Oh, look at that old business card. It's one of my old business cards. The stuff that I be using as bookmarks. Appreciating the Beauty of Natural Textured Hair is chapter 1. The Beauties of Loving and Accepting Naturally Textured Hair. See, I had these books before chapter 2, Healthy Hair is Happy Hair. I had these books before they came out with the scale to tell you like your curl pattern with like 3B, 3C, 4A, 4B, 4C. So when people started coming to me with that and asking me like what is my curl pattern type of stuff, I was like, that's that new stuff. Like, wait, pause. I gotta figure this out for myself. Cause I just learned, coily, wavy, straight, curly. And then they came out with a whole scale. So yeah, cornrows, knots, plaits, flat twists, spiral rods, twists, large. Need to talk about the different styles of natural sets and styles. So yeah, like, you know, these are where I learned, you know. This is another one I got around the same time, Going Natural, How to Fall in Love with Nappy Hair. And I like how this book has pictures of, all the different textures and looks and complexions and all that. This was a good one too, very informative. Yeah, it talked about, if your hair was relaxed too, like how to transition. Okay, so when it talked about hair types in this one, it talks about type O, looser O, type Z, and type O through S as far as African hair types. The number and letter scale came later. For shrinkage, we got cottony, spongy, wiry, wispy, thready. Yeah, these are old. Thickness, density, hair growth, hair breakage, chemicals, inappropriate hair care, inappropriate braiding, heat. I could teach some master classes now. Don't get it twisted. We got a section on ingredients to look for: aloe vera, shea butter. Oh, this was back when I started mixing. I was mixing, my favorite combination was shea butter and jojoba oil. When I tell you, when I was doing that and doing my twist outs, you couldn't tell me nothing. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. But yeah, we got sodium lauryl sulfate. I forgot to read about lye. That was another thing I was supposed to be reading about. What is lye? No pool or conditioning, transitioning, going natural gradually for those that don't want to do a big chop. Look at these old school pictures and hairstyles. Yeah, a lot of these, all I had to do was see the pictures and I practiced it and figured out how to do the style. Like I didn't need a step by step, visual showing me how. I just need to look at it long enough and then I don't know, I just recreated the style and just over time just kept doing it and then got better with it and finding the right products to use and the end product just looks better and better. That's one. And then I wanted to do the Sister Locks program back in the day. But for whatever reason, the time and the money together just wasn't working out when I was, interested in doing it. So we got the dreadlocks with the tool. I had this book came with the actual tools to use. It was like a couple of different sizes and it shows you, I don't know if you can see it, but that's what the tool looked like. It's like a needle. So depending on what size the locks were, this was copyrighted in 2009. Wow, I forgot that I got the product line too. I remember those bottles. Those was the products that came with it. But yeah, determining your coil type, tools, parting, starting locks with fingers, combining locks, tightening locks, started with other methods, starting locks with braids, caring for your locks, determining lock style, personal stories, and diary. Yeah. After I got this book and studied it, I remember my friend Mace, he had like a nice size afro, he had braids, and he let me start his brother locks. And it took about a good day to do them. These were all the different sizes that I had for doing interlocking. But yeah, I used this book as my guide to figure out, sectioning and parting and then the technique of starting with the afro. Then I saw how to do it with, straight hair, like Caucasian hair. Cause I did a couple of times have, some Caucasians or people with straight hair that wanted locks. So, of course, that's a little different. You got to learn how to mat the hair and that type of stuff. But this book gave me the information, and how to do that. See, there's locks on Caucasian hair, learning the technique. And this is 200 locks here that were interlocked. It has the compass to show you the different directions, north, south, east, west, and all that. So yeah, this is like brother locks here, showing where he started and as his hair started to grow. But yeah, so this is how I learned. I was pretty self-taught. And then I started competing in hair shows. And in 2012, this is Marissa Wells, a phenomenal beauty, first place winner of the Naturally Redefined 2012 hair show. Now I had this hung up in Hair Savvy on a shelf. Um, it was like a barber shop, and I had like a little salon suite on the opposite side. And I came in one day, and my plaque was like face down. on the shelf, and I went to go pick it up, and it was like some sticky stuff on it. So I was trying to scrape it off, and that's why that looks like that. But when it comes to like the hate, this is where it started. Well, I'm not, I'll say where I realized it started. Okay. Because the owner was kind of not happy at the fact that I used Phenomenal Beauty, which was my brand, because I was the one who invested my own money that I earned, from my business to go into this. He didn't, offer any assistance or anything like that. And I was supposed to, in his mind, use that their name, his barbershop's name. So I came in and my plaque was messed up. But we got another one for 2013. That's not messed up. Okay. We got Marissa Wells, Phenomenal Beauty, first place winner, naturally redefines 2013 natural hair show. So yeah, the 2012 one was, cool. And 2013 is when I went to Paul Mitchell. I did that competition while I was attending Paul Mitchell. Oh, oops. These books are so heavy, honey. And when I was at Paul Mitchell, oh Jesus, these books. I knocked this down and it broke. I need some super glue to fix that frame. So this was the My Lady textbook. You notice a pattern with these My Lady textbooks? They ain't got no melanin, no texture, none. But these were the books that we learned about hair from. I got this final exam practice test here because I was about to do this before I got kicked out, kicked out with a A average and 1,200 hours. The reason that they said was cheating the time clock because myself and other students that didn't get kicked out, had a bad habit of not being on off the clock when we were at lunch in our cars. So when you somebody that have some friends that are very outspoken and talented at what they do and end up not being liked by certain teachers and y'all hang out together and they decide that they wanted to kick them out one day and y'all always be together and you sitting here watching them, get kicked out, called into the office and then being escorted out the building and you with a client on the floor and when I'm saying you, I'm talking about me, of course. And I'm just watching this and I'm like, well, y'all not about to wait until I finish this client to try to kick me out. So I'm like, y'all need to talk to me about something. And I got pulled into the office and, you know, there was a conversation had about, on the camera showing us in the parking lot while we were still on the clock for lunch. And they considered that to be cheating the time clock. And mind you, the whole break room, like all the students, just about, I'll say a good 70+% of the students was doing that, but not even 10%, 5% got kicked out that day. But you know what? Another issue that we had was, I was a little rebellious in the fact that I didn't want to do chemical services, I didn't want to, work with clients that were coming in the school with relaxed hair, wanting a relaxer, and their hair was very damaged and unhealthy. And the last thing they needed was any kind of chemicals near their hair. So I'm recommending, you know, more natural styles and, solutions to repair the hair. Me and my big old mouth knowing too damn much, and teachers ain't like it because, I'm supposed to be selling chemicals. I'm supposed to be selling products, you know. That's what I'm there for. Not to get my education, not to, get my hours, but to make the school money on top of the money they getting from, you know, my tuition and, all of that. Like my kid, Sally Mae, student loans, that type of stuff. So yeah, that was that story. I still got the books though. Still got my books. I got this one. I got the theory workbook. I got the texture system. This is what they call texture. Okay. This is what they call curly hair. I wonder if that's evolved over the last decade plus. If texture hair got a little bit of melanin and kink to it yet. And we got the color system. And we got the cutting system. Why do I still have all these books? Because I paid for them. I would still have my whole kit if, you know, I didn't spend some time displaced, without a home, you know, and dealing with financial challenges that I'm sure that situation contributed to the stress and the misfortune and all that. But it's all good. Here we go. It's a new day. And we're doing a series called The Beauty in Starting Over. Let me read this last article and then we're going to wrap this up with what's new, what's relevant in June 2026. Some of this stuff can be repeated, but that's what happens when you're doing research and you're getting your information from multiple sources. Certain things get repeated on purpose for to show the consistency. So this is from Boston University, Chobanian and Avicennian School of Medicine. The first large study of hair relaxers among Black women finds increased risk of uterine cancer. Chemical hair relaxers are heavily marketed to and commonly used by Black women to straighten curly or tightly coiled hair. These products are only loosely regulated and are known to contain potentially harmful ingredients, including chemicals known as endocrine disruptors, which can be absorbed via inhalation or through the skin. And that was another thing. I like working in studios or, barbershops because I found that I didn't really like working with stylists that work with the chemicals that I didn't want to not only do or use on my, clients, but I also didn't want to inhale it and be smelling them because I hated the smell of perms and relaxers and stuff like that. Like I just didn't want to be inhaling it. Like I'm that serious about that stuff. So I was a little too rebellious. Okay. Prior studies have linked these chemicals to a wide range of women's reproductive health outcomes. A new study by researchers at Boston University's Black Women's Health study has reported that long-term use of chemical hair relaxers by postmenopausal Black women was associated with increased risk of uterine cancer compared to women who never or rarely used hair relaxers. Those who reported using hair relaxers more than twice a year or for more than 5 years had a greater than 50% increased risk of uterine cancer. Our study suggests that moderate and heavy use of chemical hair relaxers may be associated with a higher risk of uterine cancer among postmenopausal Black women. In addition, there are major racial disparities in uterine cancer. Compared to non-Hispanic white women, Black women have higher rates of aggressive subtypes of uterine cancer and are nearly twice as likely to die from this disease, said corresponding author Kimberly Bernard, associate of professor associate professor of medicine at Boston University School of Medicine. The researchers asked nearly 45,000 women in the BWHS who had no prior history of cancer and an intact uterus about their past use of chemical hair relaxers. They then followed the women for up to 22 years and compared rates of uterine cancer among women who reported frequent or long term use of hair relaxers to rates among women who never or rarely used them. They found that among postmenopausal women, rates of uterine cancer were statistically significantly higher for those who commonly use hair relaxers, even after adjustment for other potential risk factors. According to the researchers, these findings highlight the importance of continued research regarding the potential adverse health effects of exposure to chemical hair relaxers and their continuance. Black women are often underrepresented in health research and may have unique exposures that contribute to disparities in disease. This study fills an important gap in knowledge about the potential health effects of hair relaxer use, which is very common in Black women, said Bertrand, who also is an etymologist at BU Sloan Etymology Center. The researchers hope these results will raise awareness of the potential toxic effects of these products and promote efforts to reduce exposure. Importantly, identification of safer alternatives to straightening hair, stricter regulations of cosmetic products, and policies to prohibit discrimination against natural hair, such as the Crown Act, could represent important steps toward reducing racial disparities in uterine cancer. These findings appear online in the journal Environmental Research, posted 3 years ago. We are frontline medicine and science. Every day we learn, conduct research, care, teach, discover, and pioneer in places not everyone goes. The classroom at the front line of medicine and science. Okay, Boston University, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. All right, so that's that. I also wanted to read in Google. Let me go to that. So LYE is the chemical that is in relaxers. We're going to talk about what that is. Since we have a t-shirt design that says, black don't crack, no lie. Y'all know I'm, creative, in that regard. Like they call crack creamy crack, like that relaxer. If you know, relaxers are nicknamed creamy crack. So black don't crack. Beautiful looks always created kindly. Don't crack. No lie. No lie. You get it? I came up with that idea and said I was going to put it on a t-shirt like a year ago. And I wrote it down and kind of got sidetracked, distracted from all the life that I was dealing with. And it showed up clear as day this morning when I was on my way to work and to serve a beautiful client that I so appreciate. That's like really becoming more than a client and a friend. She's a beautiful being with some beautiful sister locks. And She has her person who started her locks that does her reties, and she comes to me for styling and hair care. And I appreciate that so much. She's thebomb.com. But let me show you the t-shirt design that, you know, me and Google Gemini came up with in Gemini season with the Gemini new moon. How about that? Mm, 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 mm. So I changed up the top part that says experience black a little bit. If we zoom in, we have black in cursive right there underneath it. So the actual t-shirt design, when you go to purchase it, let me see if this transfers over like I need it to. It didn't. Stop sharing. Stop sharing and share over here. All right. So this is, we're back at the Empress Network, Marissa, the natural hair care specialist. And this is our book and shop page with our digital billboard. If you want to book me in Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, or for mobile styling, these are the options to do that here. The password for the Empress Boutique is 777. And this is our No Lie Women's Relaxed T-shirt. Okay. This is what it looks like. The front, we got Experience Black, and we have the acronym underneath the capital letters so you can see, you know, what each letter stands for. We changed up the A in the middle that people saw and misunderstood, thinking that, you know, I was promoting something sexually or something like that when it ain't have nothing to do with none of that. But yeah, on the sleeve, we got my signature, my Miss Black, infinity symbol on the side on the sleeve. And these are the details. So purchasing that shirt and supporting, you know, this mission, this campaign, spreading this awareness. I know it's a lot of people that have already transitioned to natural, and I've supported a lot of people with transitioning to natural and even you know maintaining their natural hair and keeping them from going back to the chemicals, the relaxers and so forth. But there's still, I was surprised at how many people still relax their hair. Like, I was like, I thought everybody was natural by now, but apparently no, not yet. So we still got work to do, some lives to save, some wombs to save. Okay. Lie. Sodium or potassium hydroxide is an extremely caustic alkaline substance. Upon direct contact, it causes rapid liquefaction, necrosis, a process where it breaks down proteins and fats, causing cells to dissolve and die. The severity and speed of the damage depends highly on the concentration and duration of exposure. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The primary health impacts on the body include skin contact, severe burns. Lye extracts moisture from the skin and generates heat. It can cause deep penetrating chemical burns with blistering and ulcerations. Delayed pain. Because it destroys nerve endings, you might not feel pain immediately upon initial contact, which can result in prolonged exposure before realizing a burn has occurred. And irritation. Dilute solutions may just cause redness, itching, or dryness. Eye contact. Irreversible damage. Even microscopic splashes can destroy the cornea. Lye can cause rapid corneal burns, permanent scarring, and complete blindness, according to Wikipedia. Ingestion, gastrointestinal destruction. Swallowing lye immediately burns and destroys the lips, tongue, throat, esophagus, and stomach. WEPC 12. Internal perforation. It can eat through the esophageal or intestinal walls, leading to massive internal bleeding, peritonitis, and shock, centers of disease control and prevention. Long-term complications. If a victim survives internal scarring, can permanently narrow the esophagus, making it difficult or impossible to swallow food later in life. Inhalation, respiratory distress, breathing in lye, dust, or acerol mist causes immediate irritation of the nose and throat. It's crazy how when I started reading this, like my throat literally just started itching out of nowhere. Like, and I'm trying not to be scratching it on camera, but that's interesting. Airway closure. Higher concentrations can cause severe inflammation, laryngeal swelling or choking, and the accumulation of fluid in the lungs, pulmonary edema. And again, that comes from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, which is the CDC. Immediate action required. If you or someone else has been exposed to lye, consult authoritative guidance like the CDC Medical Management Guidelines for sodium hydroxide or the National Capital Poison Center. For eye contact or ingestion, seek emergency medical attention. Call 911 immediately. Medlineplus.gov. That's pretty dangerous to be putting near your scalp, your brain. And I remember this good brother that look, I'm pulling everything off the shelf because I gotta pack it up anyway. But a good brother I used to ride motorcycles with used to say that women were crazy. He was like, yo, it's really something wrong with y'all, especially, we're talking about relaxers or whatever. And yeah, he's right. When you know better, you do better, hopefully. But the owner's manual for the brain. I've had this book for quite some time too. And of course, I've never read it from cover to cover, but I've definitely picked it up and read through it. I got a bunch of bookmarks of cards and flyers up in here, up in here. So another flyer I designed a while ago. hmm That's something I found I just was naturally good at too. We got runway curls. hmm All that. Hormones and emotions. Oh, pardon me. Well, it's after midnight. So that's another thing. And this is what I'm excited about. This is my student ID. I am starting school on Monday, and I am going to be a certified natural hair care specialist in North Carolina, in Charlotte, before the end of this year. It's a goal that, I'm locked in to and I'm excited about, I'm excited about. So I need all the additional prayers, and support from my people to make sure that, this happens. Because when I attended Paul Mitchell, my plan was to not only get my cosmetology license with the 1,500 hours, and what, like damn near $20,000, you know, program or student loan debt that I acquired, um, and got 1,200 of those hours out of the 1,500. This natural hair care program is 300 hours. So that's going to give me my 1,500 hours. And I just need to find the right state that's going, go ahead and give me all my certifications that I need. If I got to take the test, I could take the test. I've been taking tests for decades now, okay, and passing them. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and make this happen for you, girl. And more than just me, because with that, I want to teach one day. I don't know if it's going to be the traditional route in a classroom and all that, but with all this experience and knowledge, I think I can really make a difference in this industry and get us some melanin and kinky, coily, or curly, or textured hair on the cover of these My Lady textbooks. If not My Ladies, maybe another brand of cosmetology books, something like that. Maybe, maybe. All these business cards. I'm about to be outside all summer when I ain't in class and when I ain't got no clients. I'll be outside promoting. Y'all remember these business cards I designed? Little key cards. Look at this. Look what I be finding. I be still having stuff like I had a photo shoot and I designed these cards and these were like where you could hole punch them and put them on your key ring. So these were actual hair models that I got for a photo shoot. That's my homegirl, my Keisha. She is a phenomenal stylist. And she's been on a lot of my marketing material. You know, where where Joa? She got some pictures in here too. They all stuck together. They're so old. I had these for so long that the information on the back ain't even valid no more. Like that IG page that I had ain't even. I had one with hair extensions too. I got none of them in here. Dang, these is really stuck together. I'm missing. I'm missing one of my hair models, the one that had the hair extensions. But I love this one. This was with me in the background actually styling the hair. And on the back, before black had the girl was an A, the A was a diamond. Okay, you see that? because black stood for beautiful luxury, always created kindly. Before it was beautiful looks, always created kindly. I had a vision. I always loved boutiques. Like when it came to when I was like back in the day, and I used to actually shop, and I had my little money I was making and all that. I like boutiques because when I would go to like my favorite boutiques, typically the ones that I went to was like on South Street in Philadelphia back in the day. They had some that you know were really nice, and the shoes, the clothes, and stuff. They literally had like maybe 5 pieces, like a small amount of pieces, barely a dozen in most cases of whatever piece and whatever color. So you're not gonna see everybody or anybody in your stuff. So I was like that kind of shopper. And wow, marissablack.com is still a website. This is over 10 years old. Like I did this photo shoot over 10 years ago because black with the girl. I had these hats. I designed these hats with this logo on the side over 10 years ago. And when I did this, it was a diamond. This this came after these, y'all. And the lipstick also has that same logo that's on the hats. I got more makeup left over in the bag, but I don't sell it because it's so old. It still works though. It still do what it do. I'm gonna set up a nice little setup for myself and use it for my makeover Mondays. But yeah, marissablack.com. Follow us on Instagram at marissablack87. When I found these and seen that I still had them, because I didn't even realize I still had them. Um, what did I do? I went to look up to see if my name was still available on Instagram, and I had to add a period between Marissa Black. So it's Marissa Black dot 87 now. So if I hand these out, I have to let people know. But I think I'm gonna use these. I'm gonna be outside, honey. And that's the second box. I emptied the first box in Colombia. So the last couple weeks that I've been outside, I emptied this one with the events that I did, and now I got this one. So these are what I'm gonna be giving out in Charlotte. Inshallah, God willing. And then hopefully ordering some more boxes by the end of the month. And I'm gonna be outside with my sign. It's in the car. It's my. Do I have one in here? I did have one in here. So I'm gonna be outside holding up my sign. Like, can I do your hair? May I do your hair? You need me to do your hair? Because I need you to want me to do your hair. If not today, you could take one of these cards and maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna have my book bag on my back. And I'm going to have my mug in my hand, my hat on my head, and my journal to document the journey. So I would appreciate it if some beautiful people could see this and, you know, support your girl because I need some funds. I need some coins, you know, cutting my hours to part time, to go to school part time. That costs, traveling back and forth from Columbia to Charlotte, about a half a tank of gas, and my half a tank of gas ain't what it used to be, that costs, having a safe haven, a safe space to rest my head at night so that I can ace all my tests and my exams and breeze through this exam and get my certification. That costs. That costs. And I need to be able to get my nutrients and my fuel to make my juices and a good breakfast and, you know, my good food. That costs. Then I need some uniforms for school and work. Well, for school, but to keep it simple, I'm gonna wear what I wear to school, to work. Okay. That costs too. Everything gonna cost. And in the beginning, we started out with you letting you know that, these folks want me out here looking real bad and real crazy. They wanna really make me out to be what they convinced themselves that I was because of my logo and my brand. And I just showed you how I spend my time, what I be really on when I be minding my business, being a homebody, not bothering nobody, not trying to be taking nobody man, not trying to be beefing with nobody over no man, not trying to be having no man in my space, in my face, mismanaging my energy, using or abusing me, that type of stuff. Just minding my business. That costs. So, with that being said, if you can just get one of them t-shirts that I designed or any of these other beautiful pieces of merchandise for you or somebody that you care about, that would appreciate them. And subscribe to the Empress Network at empressblack.com so you can earn you some rewards points. I really want to pay out and cash out, and credits for people earning their rewards points because that means you supporting what we got going on here. And I appreciate you. I do. So, and even that costs. So help a sister out. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until next time, peace and love.